Most people spend their entire lives trying to control the world around them. They want to control people, situations, money, time, and outcomes. They become frustrated when things do not go their way. They feel powerless when life does not obey their wishes. But there is a truth that very few are willing to face. You were never meant to control the world. You were meant to control yourself. The moment you understand this, your life changes. Because when you stop wasting energy trying to command what is outside of you, and you begin to command what is inside of you, you step into real power. If you control yourself, you control your life. Self-control is the real power because everything you'll ever experience in life passes through you first. Before a situation becomes a reaction, it becomes a thought. Before a thought becomes an action, it becomes a feeling. Before a feeling becomes a habit, it becomes a choice. If you are not in control at the level of choice, you are not in control at any level. You may think life is happening to you, but in truth, life is responding to how trained you are on the inside. Mainly a person without self-control is easy to manipulate. Their emotions can be triggered, their attention can be stolen. Their energy can be drained. One comment can ruin their day, one setback can destroy their focus. One desire can override their values. This is not strength. This is weakness disguised as freedom. When you live this way, you may believe you are free, but in reality, you are ruled by impulses, moods, and external pressure. You become reactive instead of intentional, and a reactive person is never in control of their life. True power is quiet. It is not loud. It is not emotional. It does not need to prove itself. It is the ability to pause when everything inside you wants to react. It is the ability to stay disciplined when nobody is watching. It is the ability to remain calm when chaos invites you to lose yourself. This is what self-control looks like in real life. It is not about being cold. It is about being centered. It is not about suppressing emotion. It is about not being owned by it. Bandist, when you train self-control, you create space between stimulus and response. In that space, you find freedom. Most people do not live in that space. They live on automatic. Something happens and they react instantly. Someone disrespects them and they explode. They feel tired and they quit. They feel bored and they escape. They feel stressed and they numb themselves. This is not choice. This is conditioning. If you are conditioned, you are predictable. If you are predictable, you are controllable. And if you are controllable, then you are not the master of your life. Self-control means you decide who you will be, regardless of what happens. It means you do not allow the outside world to dictate the quality of your inner world. You may feel anger, but you decide how to express it. You may feel fear, but you decide how to move forward. You may feel desire, but you decide whether it serves your path or destroys it. This is leadership of the self, and if you cannot lead yourself, you will always be led by something else. Many people chase confidence, but confidence is not built by words. Confidence is built by keeping promises to yourself. Every time you say you will wake up early and you do, you gain power. Every time you say you will train and you show up, you gain power. Every time you say no to distraction and yes to discipline, you gain power. These are not small things. These are votes for the person you are becoming. Over time, you either become someone who can trust yourself or someone who constantly breaks their own word. And the person who cannot trust themselves cannot control their life. Blended self-control also protects you from becoming a victim of your own emotions. Emotions are natural. But when emotions become your master, your life becomes unstable. One day, you are motivated. The next day, you are empty. One day, you are disciplined. The next day, you are weak. This emotional roller coaster is not life. This is lack of training. A trained person does not wait to feel ready. They act according to principle, not mood. They understand that feelings come and go, but character remains. When you master yourself, you stop blaming. You stop making excuses. You start waiting for perfect conditions. You understand that no matter what has happened to you, how you respond is your responsibility. This is not easy, but it is powerful. Responsibility gives you control. Blame gives your control away. Every time you blame circumstances, people, or the past, you give your power to something you cannot change. Every time you take responsibility, you bring your power back to where it belongs, inside you. This is why self-control is the real power. Not because it makes life easy, but because it makes you strong. Life will always be uncertain. People will always be unpredictable. Challenges will always appear. But when you are in control of yourself, nothing can truly control you. Your peace becomes internal. Your discipline becomes automatic. Your direction becomes clear. Plans, if you want to control your life, stop trying to control everything else. Train your mind, train your reactions, train your habits, train your discipline, because the person who controls themselves is not a victim of life. They are the architect of their future. If you control yourself, you do not need to control the world. The world will respond to who you have become. The world will respond to who you have become. And who you become is shaped more than anything else by how you use your mind. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your most dangerous enemy. There is no neutral position. Every day, your mind is being trained. Every day, your mind is being trained, either by you or by your environment. If you do not take responsibility for this training, then whatever is loudest, easiest, and most emotional will take control. And when that happens, you may believe you are thinking, but in truth, you are being thought for. Ambiosino. Most people are not defeated by their circumstances. They are defeated by the conversations happening inside their own head, the doubts they repeat, the fears they rehearse, the excuses they allow to grow, the stories they tell themselves about why they cannot, why it is too late, why they are different, why it is harder for them. These thoughts may feel real, but feeling real does not make them true. A thought is just a suggestion. If you accept every suggestion, your life becomes a reflection of your weakest ideas. A trained mind does not fight every thought. It observes, it questions, it chooses. You must learn to separate who you are from what you think. You are the one who hears the thought. You are not the thought itself. This distance is power. Power. Because when you create distance, you create choice. Without distance, there is only reaction. With distance, there is direction. This is how your mind becomes a weapon for you instead of a weapon against you. When your mind is undisciplined, it looks for comfort, not truth. It looks for escape, not growth. It looks for reasons, not results. It will tell you to rest when you should train. It will tell you to quit when you should persist. It will tell you to distract yourself when you should face yourself. If you listen to this voice without training it, you will slowly build a life based on avoidance. And avoidance always becomes regret. A strong mind is not loud. It is clear. It does not panic easily. It does not exaggerate. It does not create drama where there is none. It sees what is, not what fear imagines. This clarity allows you to act with precision instead of emotion. Most mistakes in life are not made because of lack of intelligence. They are made because of emotional thinking. When emotion leads and logic follows, your life becomes unstable. When awareness leads and emotion follows, your life becomes aligned. Your attention is one of your most valuable resources. Whatever you focus on grows in your experience. If you focus on problems, you become problem-minded. If you focus on weakness, you become fragile. If you focus on discipline, you become strong. If you focus on purpose, you become resilient. The mind becomes shaped by what you repeatedly feed it. This is why you must be careful what you allow into your mental space. Conversations, media, habits, and people. They are not neutral. They are training you whether you realize it or not. Bombast. If you do not command your attention, someone else will. If you do not decide what you think about, something else will decide for you. This is how people lose control of their lives without realizing it. They wake up one day and feel lost, not because they chose to be lost, but because they never chose to be directed. A drifting mind creates a drifting life. Obligeance. When your mind becomes your weapon, it works for you even when things are difficult. It reminds you of your standards when you feel weak. It brings you back to your purpose when you feel distracted. It helps you see long-term when short-term feels tempting. This is not motivation. This is mental structure. Structure creates stability. Stability creates strength. You do not need a perfect mind. You need a trained mind. Training means repetition. It means catching negative patterns and correcting them. It means choosing discipline over comfort, focus over noise, and responsibility over excuses. Over time, your mind learns who is in charge. And once your mind knows you are in charge, it stops trying to run your life for you. And the first person you must lead is your own mind. When the mind is led, discipline becomes possible. And when discipline becomes part of who you are, something unexpected happens. You begin to experience a deeper level of freedom. Most people misunderstand discipline. They think it is restriction. They think it is a cage. They think it takes away choice. In truth, lack of discipline is the real prison. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom. Discipline is the doorway to it. Danes look closely at people who claim they want freedom, but avoid discipline. They want to wake up when they want, work when they feel like it, train when they are motivated, and quit when it becomes uncomfortable. On the surface, this looks like freedom, but over time, this lifestyle creates weakness, inconsistency, and dependence on mood. When mood becomes your leader, your life becomes unstable. You are free for a moment, but trapped in the long run, trapped by poor health, trapped by weak habits, trapped by lack of progress. This is not freedom. This is slow loss of control. Discipline gives you options. An undisciplined life removes them. When you are disciplined with your body, you gain the freedom to move, to endure, to stay strong as you age. When you are disciplined with your finances, you gain the freedom to choose, to invest, to walk away from bad situations. When you are disciplined with your time, you gain the freedom to focus, to build, to create something meaningful. Discipline today becomes freedom tomorrow. Comfort today becomes limitation tomorrow. Talundras. Every time you choose the harder right over the easier wrong, you are buying future freedom. Every time you train when you don't feel like it, you are building a body that will serve you instead of betray you. Every time you focus when distraction is easier, you are building a mind that can hold pressure. These choices feel small in the moment, but over time they compound. And compounded discipline creates a life that feels light, controlled, and directed. People often say they want an easy life. But an easy life is heavy to carry. It is heavy with regret, heavy with excuses, heavy with things left undone. A disciplined life is demanding, but it is clean. There is less chaos, less stress from unfinished responsibilities, less anxiety from knowing you are avoiding what must be faced. Discipline reduces mental weight. It brings order, and order creates peace. True freedom is not the ability to avoid pain. True freedom is the ability to face pain on your terms. It is the ability to choose discomfort today so that you are not forced into suffering tomorrow. The disciplined person chooses the pain of training so they avoid the pain of weakness. They choose the pain of focus so they avoid the pain of confusion. They choose the pain of effort so they avoid the pain of regret. This is intelligent suffering. This is conscious choice. When you live without discipline, life will discipline you, the body will break down, the mind will become anxious, the opportunities will pass, the consequences will arrive. You will suffer either way. The difference is whether you choose your suffering or let life choose it for you. The person who controls themselves chooses discipline, and through that choice they protect their future. Abandoned discipline also builds trust within yourself. When you repeatedly do what you said you would do, you become reliable to yourself. This creates inner stability. You no longer depend on motivation, you depend on standards. And standards do not change with mood. They hold you steady when emotions are unstable. This is how you become someone who can be counted on by others and by yourself. But if you control yourself, discipline will not feel like punishment. It will feel like self-respect. It will feel like alignment. It will feel like you are living according to who you say you are. And that is freedom. Not the freedom to escape responsibility, but the freedom to live without being controlled by weakness, distraction, and impulse. This is why discipline is freedom in disguise, because it gives you control, and control over yourself is the highest form of freedom you will ever experience. And yet, even with discipline, there is another force inside you that must be understood if you are to truly control yourself: your emotions. Emotions are powerful, they are fast, they are convincing. And if you are not trained, they will take the steering wheel of your life without asking permission. This is why so many people feel out of control, even when they are intelligent and capable. They are not led by principle, they are led by feeling. Emotions are not your enemy. They are signals. They are information about what is happening inside you and around you. Anger may signal that a boundary has been crossed. Fear may signal that something matters to you. Sadness may signal loss. Excitement may signal opportunity. These signals are useful, but a signal is not a command. A warning light in a car tells you something needs attention. It does not mean you should crash the car into a wall. In the same way, emotions are meant to be observed, understood, and responded to, not obeyed blindly. Planned. When emotions become leaders, your life becomes reactive. You say things you later regret. You make decisions you later question. You start strong and quit quickly. You feel inspired one day and lost the next. This emotional instability is not a personality trait. It is a training issue. The nervous system has learned that emotion equals action, and whatever is trained can be retrained. Being a self-controlled person does not deny emotion. They allow it to be present without letting it dictate behavior. They can feel anger without becoming destructive. They can feel fear without becoming frozen. They can feel sadness without becoming helpless. This is emotional strength, not numbness, not suppression. Strength. It is the ability to carry emotion without being carried by it. But most people are afraid of their emotions, so they try to escape them. They distract themselves, they numb themselves, they avoid themselves. But avoidance does not remove emotion, it stores it. And stored emotion does not disappear. It leaks out in stress, irritation, fatigue, and loss of focus. When you face emotion consciously, you release its control. When you run from it, you give it power over you. Emotional mastery begins with awareness. You must notice what you are feeling without immediately acting on it. You must learn to sit with discomfort without needing to fix it instantly. This pause is powerful. In that pause, you regain leadership. Without the pause, emotion leads. With the pause, you lead. This is especially important in moments of pressure. Under stress, emotions become louder. The body prepares for survival. The mind looks for quick solutions. This is when most mistakes are made. The trained person expects this. They do not trust their first emotional reaction under pressure. They slow down, they breathe, they observe, they respond instead of react. This is not weakness, this is command. When you are emotionally led, you are easy to control. A comment can trigger you. A delay can frustrate you. A small problem can feel like a big one. Your peace becomes dependent on external conditions. This is not control. This is emotional dependency. True self-control means your inner state is not easily hijacked by outer events. You feel, but you choose. You experience, but you decide. Over time. This training changes your identity. You become someone who is stable, someone who is grounded, someone who is not easily shaken. And This does not mean you become emotionless. It means you become unbreakable. You can carry pressure without collapsing. You can carry responsibility without complaining. You can carry discomfort without escaping. Benja, if you control yourself, your emotions become advisors, not rulers. They give you information, but they do not give you orders. You become the one who decides how you will act, how you will speak, and how you will move forward, regardless of what you feel in the moment. Jend, this is how you stop being a prisoner of your inner weather and become the master of your inner climate. Become the master of your inner climate. And finally, understand this. Self-control is not proven in big moments. It is built in small ones. Life is not shaped by one heroic decision. It is shaped by thousands of quiet, ordinary choices that no one applauds and no one sees. The small decisions you make every day are the votes you cast for the kind of life you will live. And whether you realize it or not, those votes are counted. Most people look for dramatic change. They want a breakthrough. They want a transformation. But transformation is not loud. It is repetitive. It is waking up when it would be easier to stay in bed. It is doing the work when it would be easier to delay. It is choosing water when it would be easier to choose sugar. It is closing the distraction when it would be easier to scroll. These are not motivational moments. These are training moments, and training moments build an unbreakable foundation. Small daily control creates identity. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, you reinforce the belief, I am someone who follows through. Every time you break a small promise, you reinforce the opposite. Over time, this becomes who you are. Not who you wish to be, not who you talk about being, who you actually are. And identity is stronger than motivation. When you see yourself as disciplined, you act disciplined. When you see yourself as inconsistent, you act inconsistent. Your daily actions are teaching you who you are. Band's consistency also builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. When you trust yourself, your mind becomes calmer. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop making excuses. You know that when you decide, you will act. This inner trust removes friction from life. Decisions become simpler. Actions become cleaner. Energy is no longer wasted on inner conflict. An unbreakable life is not a life without problems. It is a life with strong systems. Systems that support you when motivation is low. Habits that carry you when willpower is tired. Standards that guide you when emotions are loud. These systems are built through small daily control, not through inspiration, through repetition. And many people underestimate the power of 1%. 1% more discipline, 1% more focus, 1% more responsibility. Over time, this compounds. And what looks small today becomes massive tomorrow. This is how quiet people build powerful lives. Not through noise, through consistency. If you want to control your life, stop waiting for big changes. Take control of small actions. Control how you start your day. Control how you use your time. Control how you speak to yourself. Control what you allow into your mind. These small controls, practiced daily, become a life that cannot be easily shaken. Band. When you control yourself in small ways, you build strength in big ways. You become reliable. You become grounded. You become someone life cannot easily break. And from that place, you no longer fear challenges. You are prepared for them. If you control yourself, you do not need luck. You create direction. You create stability. You create strength. And over time, you create a life that reflects mastery. Not because it was easy, but because you were disciplined, aware, and consistent. I wish you strength in your training, clarity in your mind, discipline in your actions, and peace in your heart. May you continue to master yourself, and through that mastery, build a life that is strong, steady, and truly your own.